Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hi.
This is Daniel.
And this is Katie.
Welcome back to the Future Neighbor podcast.
Welcome.
I hope you guys are driving or doing work, and hopefully we're not taking you out of your focus zones. And if we are, good. You need to time to relax. Relax a little bit.
I like to listen to like random people's podcasts while I'm working.
I used to listen to a lot of music, like hip hop music, but then with the lyrics, I start getting all hyped up. Next thing I know, I'm just shaking my head and then just no thinking and can't do any work. But it's been a habit. I think I've been listening to hip hop music when I've been working or studying since I was like very young.
Yeah, you listen to your music so loud that you don't even like hear me when I'm going out.
It's a strategic move, Katie.
What do you mean?
Never mind. You know, YouTube has those, what do you call it? You look up cafe.
Background music
yeah.
or jazz music or study music.
But sometimes that gets too repetitive too. So you end up switching those background music and then that becomes an interruption in itself.
Yeah, so these days I listen to like pianos.
What kind of piano?
Just like shopping.
Chopping.
Yeah, 3 hour like shopping or Mozart.
Are you really into classical music?
I don't really know much, but I just like to have it in the background. I found it helps with my concentration.
Do you recommend a specific composer?
I don't know. I'm not an expert. I just go YouTube and see my recommendation.
I see. Tchaikovsky, Schubert. I'm throwing these names
Ones
out there.
that come the most on my feed are Chopin.
Yeah. Just shopping. This weekend, as you probably saw on our YouTube channel, we got a massive change in our appearance.
Yeah. I still can't get used to your hair.
Katie was like, "It's summer, and Daniel, you look too much like a ajashi, like a dad. You need to change up your style." And then
you were excited about it too.
I know. After you said that, when I was at nighttime taking a shower, I was like, you know what? I kind of do miss short hair.
It's about time.
Yeah, let's switch up the style. So I went back to the that Korean American haircut. You know the Korean American haircut for guys?
Yeah.
It's very simple. Like shaved, like 3 millimeters right on the sides and the back, and then little spiky hair.
Yeah, I don't really see the spiky hair in adult men in Korea. Most of them have curly hair, like slightly curly and wavy. So it gives you that soft impression.
But that's all because of the military. That has such a major role in why most Korean guys, when you go to the Korean military, you have to, buzz your head. And so from a guy's perspective, like as soon as you get out of the military, like you want to make it known that you're out of that stage of your life, and the first thing to do that is grow out your hair. So
and perm it.
Yeah. Like, when I went to climbing this
That's hilarious.
I went to climbing the other day, and I went with my haircut. And then, I went into class and I just gave like a slight hello. But then people were kind of, when you address someone that it's kind of a bit warmer, more receptive. Like, hey, I got kind of like the, oh, hello, like, who are you? I was like, oh, surely they know it's me, right? But, I didn't want to be like, hey, guys, it's me. So
yeah, I trimmed my hair.
Yeah, so I was just chilling. And then the teacher, all of a sudden, he gets the roll call sheet. And then he's going through the names. And I was like, there's not that many new people, or there's no new people. And then he like looks around. He's like, oh, that person's here. And then he comes up to me. He's like, 죄송한데요. 성함이 어떻게 되시죠? Which means, excuse me, but can I get your name, please? And I was like, it's me, Daniel. He's like, oh.
And you've been going to that place for about a month now.
You should have seen the look in his eyes. And he's like, oh, you look so different.
That's hilarious.
But Katie, you also got nice curls in now. You got the Korean Beyonce look going.
You know what my mom calls me?
What?
She called me, I look like a 자갈치 아줌마.
Oh my god. You mean
the
like
lady
a woman
who sells fish
at the fish market?
Yes.
It's like a big thing for older like Korean women to perm their hair like with a lot of volume so they can look like they have a lot of hair.
Yeah.
But I like it, Katie.
My mom was so like disappointed at my hair. She's like, what got into you?
Katie has these major hair transformations. Like when she went to San Francisco to learn coding, she was like, I don't know, I just got to do it the American style. And so you like watch some movie or something and you cut it so short.
Yeah, I was really hooked into like really short hair at the time. And I wanted to cut it so bad. So I just went to a local salon. Yeah. And then they chopped my hair. But they chopped me like a boy. There was no like feminine touch.
Yeah, you looked so, yeah, you looked aggressive.
And the people in my class were like, overnight, what happened?
So guys, I have been making some progress in my climbing class. Finally. I finally got out of they asked me to move up to the next grade. I'm so happy. Guys, climbing has been so much fun.
Do people know this sport? Is climbing something that's like well known in the West? Yeah. I mean, it started from the West, so.
Yeah, like bouldering, sports climbing.
Yeah.
It's pretty popular, but it's not like a mainstream sport yet.
Yeah, because I didn't know about it until like, a few months ago. And if it wasn't from this friend who was like, really into climbing, I wouldn't have known about this sport at all. Because it's indoor, so you have to like actually go there to see people doing it.
I really enjoy sports that you can get into like a stream of focus. So when you're doing the sport, you don't think of anything. And I think it's like almost meditative in a way, because when you're trying to figure out a course on bouldering, that's all you think about.
Yeah.
And I think that's so therapeutic in a way. That's why I got hooked towards it. And there's that like problem solving aspect.
Yeah, puzzle.
Yeah. And what's really nice about the kind of bouldering community is when you go there, it's not competitive. You're not trying to compete against the next person. I mean, of course, some people are trying to show that they can do better, but everyone's rooting you on. And I think that's cool. Like, for example, even if you don't finish the course and you make it halfway, but then on your next attempt, you do an extra hold, that's like an achievement. And people are like rooting you on, win-win type of sport. And I think it's really good. Oh man, I'm so hooked.
Yeah, but that's so true. Like, doesn't feel like a competition.
Yeah.
Feels more like a family.
Yeah.
Even though I've only known them for only a month.
Yeah.
So we're all like really trying to help each other and help the other person succeed that path that they're working on.
We watched the movie The Dawn Wall. Did I watch that with you?
No, I didn't watch that.
Oh, okay. Then we have to watch it again. But that movie is so amazing. Like, well, I'm not going to ruin it for people, but it's incredibly inspiring. After I watched that, I actually wanted to get into climbing. I didn't know what the first step was. Like, I didn't know there was indoor gyms and stuff like that. But then I was talking to another person, and that person started climbing because they watched that movie too.
Really?
Yeah. So many people have watched that movie Dawn Wall and then decided to start climbing.
Climbing is going to become an official sport in the Tokyo Olympics next year.
It should be. It's so awesome. And I actually weighed myself in the morning and I've actually dropped 2 kilos.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't look like it.
I've been stuck.
Really?
Yeah. It was the first time. So I forget.
Because you don't even do running now.
I stopped because we go like 3 times a week now. But when I was running, I mean, my body memorized long distance running. I've been doing long distance running for like maybe 5 years now. And my routine used to be like at nighttime, right around 10 or 11 p.m., go out and do 5 miles. I would do that 3 times a week. And that kept the weight off. And I've been at like 70 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds. I've been living in Korea for so much now. I don't know my weight in pounds. It's all in kilograms. Bye Imperial. Hello, metric. When I was running and I would increase the miles, I would keep staying at 70. And so I would get like, what the heck? Like, my body is just, it's sick of running. It's not exercise for it anymore. Now I do the climbing and I'm down to 68.5, which means I lost almost 2 kilos. Even when I stopped running, I'm just doing this.
Yeah, and it's not like you've changed your diet or anything like that.
Yeah. And then the feeling when you finish climbing and you're
oh my gosh, I wish I can show Daniel's face.
and
you're speaking with your face.
And your arms are like so numb, and you come home and you sleep. Oh, I love that soreness. It's beautiful. Katie, we started at the same time. Do you like, how has climbing been for you so far?
Yeah, I found that like there were phases when I felt like I wasn't improving even during that short span.
Yeah.
Like because I felt like I don't really have much strength, so I couldn't really like go as far as I wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was frustrating. But then like over time, it's just repetition, and then I feel like I've built up quite a lot of strength and muscles.
You've been finishing some of the courses to the end.
Yeah,
I was impressed actually.
So
in the beginning, you were screaming every time.
That's just my survival instinct.
Yeah. Remember what that girl said in your class? Why she's learning climbing?
So there's this other girl who started this at the same time with me, and we are at like the level 0, and Daniel is at level 1, so we're in a different class. So I asked this girl because it's not like there wasn't any other girl in our class, so it's like, oh yeah, what brought you here? I'm interested. And she's like, yeah, I just have 0 strength in my hand. I can't even open a can.
Like a can of cola?
Yeah, so I wanted to like
get enough grip strength.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But she's doing really well too. So yeah, it's been really good.
Lately, Katie, I've been watching the news, and Katie, it's so crazy. I gotta stop watching the news in the morning. It fills my head with so much like negative energy starting from the morning. Like,
are you talking about the U.S. news?
Yeah, the U.S. news. It just gets crazier and crazier with the coronavirus, and like I sometimes see the clips of like ladies who the store people will ask them, to wear a mask, and then they will like completely go berserk.
They want to wear a mask?
There was this one clip of a lady who's like throwing everything out of her grocery cart.
Yeah, so
what's with the anti-mask movement? I'm like,
I don't know, but like something that I didn't understand, right? So in my feed, I start seeing people like based in the US telling people to wear masks because this is the way to save lives. Yeah. But this is the most obvious thing.
I know.
So I was like, why do people have to remind other people and put it on socials for this? But I guess that's like the level of understanding in the US.
But I try my best to try to understand how that person, why they react like that. Like I've been told, like one time I remember when we were riding bikes and I like didn't have the mask on, and the lady came to me and was like, oh, why don't you have a mask? Yeah. And then I was kind of like, for a second I was annoyed that she came to me and was telling me, but then I was just like, oh, I should.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
there's no question about it.
Yeah, so where I'm trying to understand is that the annoyance is that someone is telling me what to do. And my personality, I just don't like that, right?
Oh, okay.
But beyond that, like 0.1 second of someone telling me what to do is the collective thinking that you should, right? But when I see some people on social media that have the reaction to fight, like let's say someone at Costco, or
there's some anti-mask movement. I haven't even heard of this.
Yeah, because they're saying that it's oppressing your individual rights.
Oh, so in Korea, if I didn't wear a mask and I went out, the first instinct I'll get is like this 눈치 from other people staring at you, and that will like force me to wear a mask.
What is 눈치? I think 눈치 is one of the best Korean words that people should know. You only
peer pressure. Peer pressure.
I got a better word for it. Social pressure.
Yes.
Social pressure.
That's very strong.
It's very strong in Korea and a lot of Asian countries, and it's an indirect social pressure, right? So like when I first came to Korea and I would be wearing flip-flops, like sandals on the flip-flop, I would see older Korean women just looking down at me on the subway and just looking at me like wearing the flip-flops. And I just feel that, okay, they're not digging it.
That's still how my mom feels.
About
so I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't like it when I wear flip-flops.
Exactly. But you feel that. I think in the States, the sense of individualism, you know, like what I think is correct and who is anybody to tell me otherwise. It's so strong. And
interesting.
Of course, that has moved innovation, and there's so many plus sides to individualism.
Yeah, of course.
But in times of crisis, when people need to pull together, I also see the downside. And this anti-mask, this is beyond stupidity. And it's just, I can't believe it.
So I read the number of corona cases in the US outweighs all the cases globally.
It's 100K per day, I think. And okay, we're going to get off politics because I can go like 3 hours on this. But I mean, well, actually, I don't even want to bring up the T word, President T. Actually, I don't even want to put the word president in front of it. Trump. I mean, he denies it, right? He doesn't, there's no national strategy. And I think that's the saddest part. Could you imagine in Korea if the president himself was against masks and like made it a political issue? It'd be nuts. There's no like national strategy on how to solve this because the guy's living in an alternative universe.
Wow.
Yeah. So 답답해, right? 답답해 is another Korean word you guys should know. It's frustrating.
Frustrating.
답답해. Yes. Every morning I feel 답답해. I'm trying to turn off the news, but
yeah, every morning I wake up with someone from CNN talking about some US politics.
Well, I mean, my family lives in the U.S., so it's good, you know. Anyway, I gotta get off of it, yeah, because it just puts me in a strange funk.
So somehow in my feed, in my YouTube feed,
yeah,
I started to see these like travel documentaries.
Yeah.
And one I saw today was like summer in southern France.
Southern France.
Yeah, and it looked beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. And it makes me more and more want to travel.
Yeah, I think the other day I was thinking about, you know, my trips abroad as well. I think I want to share a few stories from Iran. A lot of people.
I've never been to Iran.
I'm sure most people haven't been to Iran.
So it's a very like mysterious, unknown like country.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in high school, I had some Persian friends. In America, but you know, I don't think they've been to Iran as well. But when I was doing consulting, we had projects in Iran, and I would be there like on and off for a couple of years. Katie, do you remember when I told you about my flight into the Tehran International Airport when I first went?
Oh.
The first time I went to Iran, I think my boss had put me on China Air.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it was some like Chinese discount airline, I think. And so 5 hours into my flight, the plane started to descend. And I was like...
from Korea to Iran.
Yeah, and I was like, there is no way. I mean, because I'm the type that I can't sleep on the plane.
Yes, Daniel, such a scary boy.
No, I've never could do it when I was young. Sometimes it got
your hands are sweaty in the airplane.
Katie, please.
Daniel's so scared to die in the airplane.
No, it's just a little bit sensitive to turbulence. I will admit, even though I've maybe ridden 200 plus flights, every time it goes, I kind of like my hands tell the truth. Anyway, 5 hours in, the plane starts to descend, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, did I sleep? There's no way, because you know when you sometimes fall asleep on the plane, but you're half asleep and you're half awake, and you don't know, you're kind of in that daydreaming state.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I asked the stewardess, I was like, are we landing? She's like, yes, we land now. And I was like, what? So I started kind of getting into that hedgehog mode. Or what's that animal that pops his head out of the ground? Was that Diglett? No, that's a Pokemon name. I don't know why I know that.
Oh.
Whatever that thing is.
Mew mew?
Anyway. So then as we land, I'm telling myself, let's look at the faces of the crew. You know, there's the crew that brings the airplane in, on the side. I was like, I hope they look Middle Eastern, because then I'm in Iran.
Yeah.
And I look.
And?
They look Chinese. Oh my God.
So you landed in China?
Yeah. It was
Where?
a direct flight, but it was on a discount airline. So I landed in a place called Urumqi.
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 Mm.
It's called Urumqi. I don't even know how it's spelled. URUMX. There's an X in there and QI.
Urumqi. QI.
Do you know?
Yeah, I know.
How do you know this place?
Oh, because I was like organizing flights for our company management people back at the KB.
Oh, when you're at the bank?
Yeah. So when they had to go to like Kazakhstan and countries nearby, they would have to stop by at Urumqi.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. And it was not announced on the itinerary.
Oh.
So I'm like panicking. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because I've never been on an airplane where we stop that's not at a city that's on the itinerary. If it's a direct flight, it's a direct flight, right? Yeah, I'm in Urumqi.
But that's so strange that it doesn't say it, but then you had a transfer.
Yeah, so I'm like blown out of my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I gonna end up in like a little cage somewhere and being sold off into the underground? I mean, what's going on here? Like, so I got off and I'm trying to ask this person next to me, but he's pretty much like native Chinese, can't speak English. So, like my anxiety level is going to the next level, and I'm supposed to be in Iran. How am I going to explain to my boss that, I'm in Urumqi? I have to meet these clients. And so, yeah, I remember the transit, they stapled like a seat number, but it wasn't printed out electronically. They just got a Sharpie out and they said I'm like seat number 34.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I got back on. Yeah.
So it's the same plane?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, not same plane. At the airport, I think they transferred us. They picked up more people from Urumqi. I think that's now that you mention it, it's like a transfer airport there, regional airport. So we picked up more people, and then we went to Iran. Tehran actually is very interesting. The city is located very high. It's a high altitude level.
Oh.
And the Tehran International Airport, there's like a range of mountains.
Okay.
On the sides. So what does that mean? And when you have mountains and then the airstrip is very close to the mountains, that means you get a lot of mountain gusts.
Oh,
a lot of mountain winds.
A lot of turbulence. Wow. Your favorite.
My hands are really getting sweaty right now, to be honest. Rethinking about this. We're like approaching the airstrip and, it's just started shaking a lot. And I was just like, oh, please. I was like, I got to stop doing this job. I got to stop traveling. I want to stop traveling. That's all I could think about, really. Because this turbulence would start getting like really bouncing. Mm-hmm. Like turbulence is cool when it's like maybe
cool.
When it's like 5 seconds. It's like, oh, and you didn't know. It's like when you get a shot, you're like, ooh, didn't feel bad. But if you get stabbed by the nurse in that vein and she can't find it, then it starts becoming a problem, right?
Yeah.
So this turbulence, it kept going on. Like as we're approaching and trying to land. And then as we're about to we're approaching down and now you can see this the city buildings and you're like, all right, in my mind I'm like, okay, now if the airplane crashes here, my chances of survival are increasing as the buildings look bigger and bigger and getting closer to the ground. Then all of a sudden, huge gust.
Oh my god!
And then the plane just veers left.
Oh
like
my
this.
god!
And then everyone, you can just see everyone go whoop to the left.
Seriously?
Yeah, like an amusement ride, right? All the passengers, once something happens, they look at each other, right?
Yeah.
Like, did you feel that? Did you feel that?
Oh
do you want that like mutual agreement that things are getting messed up right now? So the plane veered left and then it went back up.
Oh, second try.
Oh, God, that's the worst. It had to cycle back around because I think it was raining, but that's not the end. As we were approaching down again, it happened again.
Oh my gosh. Then you start getting really nervous.
No. By this time, people were freaking out in the plane. The lady next to me, she was an Iranian lady, like a grandmother. And then she was like, she grabbed my hand the second time it jolted, right? And then she got like the Quran from her purse. And then she started to just read through it.
Oh my gosh.
And then the person in the back started to do like a little chant out loud, like a prayer. And then the lady started like turning back and started to recite what the guy behind her was saying. And I'm getting freaked out.
Yeah.
I'm getting so freaked out, right? Oh my gosh, right? And so then, long story short, I ended up doing chanting with them.
Really?
She looked at me because she could tell my hands are like dripping buckets, and she's like, Inshallah, and something.
You don't even
Inshallah.
know the words.
Yeah, and I just remember that word, Inshallah. So I would just say, Inshallah, Inshallah. I landed with knowing the word Inshallah. So
on on the third attempt, you guys landed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's so dramatic.
Do you know what Inshallah means, Katie?
May God be with you.
God willing.
Oh.
This term comes back up later when I'm working in Tehran.
God willing.
Yeah, it's used frequently in the language. All right, guys, this story is a multi-parseted one, so hang in. So I land at the airport, and what I didn't tell you was that we had a regional office in Dubai. So I was I was working in the Dubai office like a month prior to them sending me to Tehran.
Yes, enjoying the ocean and just swimming, chilling.
Yeah, I told Katie this, so she knows aspects of this. So before, I wanted to enjoy my life a little bit before this trip to Tehran. So I was out near Jumeirah Beach. There's like a nice 5-star hotel there. It's so beautiful. And I was just, of course I didn't stay at the hotel. I just
looked from outside.
No. I just jumped into the ocean and then took a picture so it looked like I was staying at the hotel.
Did you post it on Instagram?
No, I didn't. Yeah. I just sent it to my parents. But yeah, so I was in shorts, and it was very hot in Dubai when I rode the plane. By the time I had landed, my managers, they didn't tell me anything, or the partners, they didn't tell me anything. We already had one guy that was already working on the project, but he was so busy, he didn't tell me anything about Iran and cultural and stuff like that. So by the time I got off the plane, one of the other ladies was looking at me, and she gave me that like Korean ajumma stare. You know, the one like we were talking about before is indirect.
Yeah.
Right? Just looking at me. And then I could just hear her saying something underneath her tongue. Like, I was like, dang, what's got into her? Like, we all rode the same plane, man. Like, I'm scared too. We survived though. You should be doing a high five. Don't stare me down. And next thing I know, I see another old guy looking at me. And then another person, another grandma. As I was getting closer into the line where the security checkpoint is, to get my passport stamped and stuff, customs, the lady comes to me and she goes, Maho. Sorry guys, I'm so sorry to Persians. I don't know the language. I'm so confused. But she was pointing at me and my legs. And so then that's when my nunchi, right? I picked it up. I was like, she doesn't like the color of my shorts. It's green. I bought it at Giordano. Korea, those like, those European shorts that are way too short above the knees. It was like a bright summer green. Just such an amateur. And I was waiting in line, and by the time I got to the customs, the guy was like, "Hello, okay," and I gave him his passport. I gave him my passport. He looks through it, then he goes, "Sir, no shorts."
Oh,
and I'm like, "Okay, no shorts. Is no good."
So what happened? Did you have to like change into different pants?
Yeah. So now my anxiety level after this turbulent flight is to the next level. I'm at a level 11 right now. Okay. And so, okay, I also have to give context because at this time, this was around when ISIS was still, remember ISIS and how crazy they were?
Yeah.
This was around that time. This was before, this was during Obama, when all that craziness was going on. So this was my first time going into like a country like Iran, right? And Iran doesn't have the best reputation in Western media, right? It's like vilified quite a lot. It shouldn't be vilified as much, but it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know too much about the culture and stuff. So, and I haven't done an extended stay in a Muslim country. So I want to be like, I want to get things right? And not raise an eye. because there's barely any tourists that go to Iran, right? It's prohibited.
Yeah.
The U.S. had prohibited any travel there too.
Yeah, so as any kind of trade. I remember when I was working at the bank.
Yeah,
there were restrictions.
That was economic
or like
sanctions.
Money transfer and all this.
That's exactly actually one of the reasons why I went there. Was one of our clients. Obama was lifting economic sanctions, and so we had to do some strategy on how to reflect that new change of inbound money and stuff like that. But anyway, so it was during that time. So I want to be good, when I arrive. And at Tehran International Airport, once you get past the security, there's all these families waiting, and there's this elevator, and to the left, it's like there's the elevator, but then on the staircase, it's all made out of glass. So basically, there's like a humongous amount of people just looking up, and then
looking at your legs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So there's all these Iranians, and then there's just like this one foreigner in bright green highlighter shorts.
Gosh.
And I could just tell everyone looks at me, and then they started talking to the person left and right of them, and then they look back at me. One person is pointing, and I was like, oh my God.
Embarrassing.
Oh my gosh.
So you're not allowed to wear shorts?
There's no rule against it, but it's like, it'd be like in Korea if you would go out with
So your pants were too short?
It's frowned upon to wear shorts. Men wear pants.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, men are supposed to wear pants. Long story short, my driver was waiting for me, and then I quickly changed out of my. I got my suitcase, and I ran to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then the cleaner even saw me going in with the shorts, so he even gave me an eye. Switched out to jeans, and then when I came out, he had the biggest grin on his face. He was so happy to see that I changed into jeans, and he gave me a high five.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, all right. Anxiety level coming down. We're down to a 7 now. Now, fast forward. Second time around, I had to go back to the Iran. And this time I was like, all right, I'm not making any mistakes. Went in full suit, put on my best tie. I was like, all right, let's do this thing. So this time there's no turbulence, got off. And then as soon as I hit the guard looked at me, and he was like, he just gave me that look of disgust. And I didn't know why. This time when I was going down the glass elevator or the whatever, other people would kind of give me a look, but not as bad as the neon shorts. And then I got into the taxi, and the driver was like telling me about something, and then we got onto this topic about ties. He was telling me that ties was a sign of the West, and it was frowned upon as well.
Wow.
Oh my God. So he was like, yeah, it's.
So they don't like it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to wear ties.
Your second mistake.
And I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to wear now? Huh? Yeah, it's so.
Oh,
this story,
I wouldn't have known that at all.
Yeah, I mean, who would, right? So these two stories became quite famous at my firm. So, yeah.
So you would wear suits, but
just casual,
without tie.
Yeah, you're not supposed to wear ties. And
so tell me more about your experience in Iran.
It was great. The Iranian people that I met were some of the most friendliest people. Very courteous, and very hospitable. Like they invited me over to dinner. They would check on me to see if I'm doing all right, and they always want to teach me about the history of Persia. And I don't know. It was a very nothing was forced. It felt very natural, and I felt at ease once I got into the country. And it seemed like the family unit was very strong. So there was like close parallels with like a Korean family, like values wise. So yeah, it was very nice. The traffic is nightmarish.
Oh really?
Oh my God, it's beyond disgusting. Yeah, that's a huge problem.
More than Seoul?
Oh no. Tehran traffic, it's like, oh yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
What about the food?
Oh yeah. The food was good. I mean, they put us in hotels, and we had to do an extended stay. So I was there for like 3 months, but that was actually a big problem for me because they had a set menu, and we would always just go for kebabs. And so the first time I had Persian kebab, it was so good. It was amazing.
Ooh.
It was very fatty. It's very rich, right? So after the first 3 days, I was like, I need something else. But then, yeah.
I thought kebab was a Turkish food.
No, Persians have, it's a different style. It's not like in a gyro or that pita bread. It's like served over rice, and it's like it's amazingly delicious. You would love it.
I see.
Yeah. Oh, and then they also have this dish called it's like made out of pomegranate molasses. And it's kind of like this stew. It starts with the fejanjan. I think it's called fejanjan.
Oh.
I can't believe I remember that name. My short-term memory is getting better.
I think you mentioned once in your video.
Yeah, fejanjan is so good. I think it was very interesting from the office perspective. They would have workers like that would fill your cup with tea. So this person is like
tea boy.
Yeah, tea boy is kind of degrading, but it's like an older person, and they kind of basically serve out fruit and tea for that office building or that level. And it was interesting when they would have the tea. They would basically drink the tea. And then I would see some people take a cube of sugar and then eat it. Ooh. And then they would drop a cube of sugar onto their tongue and then drink the tea. And I was like, whoa, very, very
really interesting.
Yeah.
Do they drink a lot of tea?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tea drinking country.
What kind of tea?
I don't remember what exact tea it was, but it was good.
And then you said they had a lot of rice too.
Yeah. I remember when I was eating with one of our clients, the restaurant gives a little piece of the scorched rice. You know, in Korean we call it durungji.
Oh.
Yeah, that's also, they love that
it's
part.
Their thing.
Yeah, they also love that too. And so I, strangely enough, don't like durungji at all. You know, durungji, for people who don't know,
nurungji.
Is like the leftover burnt rice on the bottom of a pot after you cook rice. And that client was like, if you're not going to eat that, can I take it? I was like, ooh, you really like it, huh? So
what about drinks?
Oh, you know, one thing that I remember with drinks, alcohol is obviously banned because it's a Muslim country, but I forgot about that. And
you were so uneducated.
No, I actually, no, that's not the right word. It's not that I didn't forget, but you know, normally after you finish a project, you kind of celebrate and you want to debrief, and you know, so the clients that they were pretty, they were pretty rich family, and so they were like, hey, you guys did good job, whatever. Is there anything that you want? And I was just like, I would die for a Heineken. Because I was like there for 3 months and I haven't had a touch of liquor. So you know how refreshing like a nice beer is, draft beer, amazing, right? When I said that, I didn't even think about it. I forgot that I'm in a Muslim country, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. But at nighttime, the client, he invited me to his house and we went for dinner.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Daniel, I have a present for you. And then
was it Heineken?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He brought in a few cans of Heineken.
But are you allowed?
No, it's illegal.
But I mean, are you allowed to say this?
Why not? Oh my gosh. Katie, come on.
What if the Iranian police come chase after you?
They have bigger things to worry about than a young Korean boy drinking Heineken in their country. Oh my gosh, yeah. They have a lot on their plates, Katie. Politically, socially, they're not worried about this. But what was interesting was that guy had a connection, and the connection would come. It's like if you were buying like weed back in the day, like some guy would come like the duffel bag, and inside there'd be a Jim Beam, Heineken, and then they would buy it, and then he would walk out with the duffel bag, and it was just Heineken. But then it was an interesting conversation because he was like, this beer is very valuable because it costs more than hard liquor. Because beer, hard liquor is it's concentrated, right?
Yeah.
Whereas beer is mostly water. So then if you have to bring it in from a different country, like you're bringing in a small can of beer, which is mostly water, and it doesn't give you that much of a buzz. Whereas hard liquor, same volume, is much more potent. So beer is more expensive.
The countries that you've traveled to are like quite unique. like places that I don't really hear my friends or my colleagues like travel to. You went to Iran,
Yeah.
and then you went to Finland.
Yeah.
Like Finland, I would also love to travel.
Yeah. I was in Russia for a little bit too.
Yeah, and then you went to Estonia.
Yeah, yeah.
Like all these countries that are not like necessarily on the top travel destination.
Yeah.
But they were so interesting. You have really varied experience from there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the major advantages of working for like a international consulting firm, with just the stories that you get. I mean, I cherish these stories. Like with one of my colleagues when we were in in Russia, like we were like, hey, let's go to Estonia for a trip, and we got on this. Estonia is like, I think maybe an hour or 2 hours. I don't forget the time, but you can ride one of those cruise boats. We had nothing to do because we're two dudes, so we went gambling, and we're on the boat. And then it was the first time I saw this like Russian guy. He's like very short. You know how there's like the stereotype, like in the movies, there's like a short Russian guy with two like beautiful like Russian models, right? That are like 3 feet taller than him.
Ooh.
That's true. That's
you
true.
saw that in real life.
Yeah, and I was like,
oh my gosh.
You know, Katie, what I always say,
He must be
stereotypes
really rich.
exist for a reason, right? If they're not true 51% of the time, it wouldn't be a fun stereotype. Not that, you know, stereotypes are great, but yeah. I went to go gamble, and then we were playing roulette, and then you know, this guy comes with like two like model like straight off the counter like calendar like girls, and then he just gives them like stacks of euro, and we're like, here, me, like my friends were like playing with like $1 $5 euro bets. He comes and he just puts like 20s 100 euros, and he gives the girls, he's like, bet however you like.
Ooh.
And I was like, god damn. And like,
wow.
we ended up losing a lot of money, but we had nothing better to do. Actually, a lot of people from Russia go to Estonia.
For casino?
No, because the beer in Estonia is very cheap.
Oh, I see. You know, your face expression became so much more like dynamic after you cut your hair.
Yeah.
It's much more visible.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's really fun observing your features now.
I don't know if you're complimenting me or dissing me at the same time. Like, you got really good at that. So now I get confused. But I think that's something that happens when we spend so much time together. It's like a secret diss, and you get a satisfaction out of it. But Katie, how about you?
So the very first country that I traveled abroad was Cairns in Australia. You know,
why does that sound familiar?
Cairns?
Wasn't that the person that emailed us? Her family was from Cairns. Oh.
Yeah. So I recognized the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom sent me on this like summer camp that sends kids to like abroad, and I stayed with this host family, like Australian family.
Yeah.
And
what age did you go?
Yeah, I was like 10.
Oh, wow.
But this is my very first time traveling abroad, so it wasn't without my family.
How did you go alone at the age of 10? You're really...
It was with like a group of other
it was
kids
like it's a group
too.
thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I feel like I didn't even find it scary because I was too young. I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah.
So, and the next thing I know is I'm in a foreign country. Yeah, and then I have to spend like a month with this like, isn't it with this like white lady? My first time seeing a white family too.
Yeah, that must be a huge culture shock.
Yeah,
you're so young, right? You don't know.
It was. Yeah, just everything was so refreshing and new, right? Like in Australia, it's very common to have a swimming pool in your house.
Yeah.
So like I go in, the house is very open. So there's no boundary between like your house and like, you know, outside.
Yeah.
There's a swimming pool inside. So everything felt like I was just so like mesmerized by all this. And I have this big fear of like bugs and ants. Yes, but Australia is like a very, very nature-friendly country.
Yeah.
So
the wrong country to go if you're scared of bugs and animals.
Yeah, and then even at nighttime, or I don't know, the windows and the doors were open the whole time, I remember. So bugs and all the ants can come in and out like very freely.
How did you handle that? You freaked out about like a small fly.
I know. I know, and I remember like one time I saw this stream of ants coming into my room. It's not just one ant, it's like,
Like
rows of them.
Like a little line?
Yeah. And I was like, it's going in onto my floor, and wow, and I just don't have memory after that because I freaked out.
What did they say when you freaked out?
No, they were like
That's
so
just life.
easy peasy. They were like so just, open about it.
Australians are like
so I
some of the
couldn't
most-
raise any points about it.
Yeah.
So like, I knew that I had to accept it.
Yeah.
Kind of this gut feeling for survival,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what else? Yes, and then they would give us this porridge for breakfast.
Like oatmeal?
Yeah, but like I had no idea what that was until many years later. So I remember thinking I hated that breakfast, and I'm like, why they're making me eat this? But I can't say no to them, right?
Right.
So I remember like having to like force myself to have this porridge in the morning.
Yeah.
And then whenever I was eating meals, I would see like this. It was like lizards everywhere. So one time I look up and this lizard was chasing after this other bug on the ceiling, and it would eat it. And it would happen on top of me on the ceiling,
Yeah.
on the dinner table.
My God.
So it was.
If that happened right now, Katie, I think you would flip the table and jump out of the apartment building.
I would. I would. But
even though we live on the 13th floor, I think you would just jump.
yeah, but I was too little to like speak out about it, or raise any point, or have some crazy gestures. I was like just take it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
it
great
was
that
such
you were
a fun
able
memory
to.
though.
Yeah, I mean, and aren't those memories like very nice to think about? Like
Yeah.
when you reflect back.
Yeah. By the way, I love oatmeal now,
Yeah.
but back at the time, I didn't even know what that was, and I really didn't really take it in.
Yeah.
And also, I was shocked at the clothes, how like open and it was. I was really shocked
You
because
saw
up
some,
until
like,
then, I
tube
only
tanks,
saw
some off the shoulder clothes.
yeah. I was only experienced t-shirts, but then I saw people having like one part of the shoulder out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had this romanticism about that particular way of clothes. So I brought several back home, and I never wore it.
You could never wear that in Korea.
Yeah.
In Korea, it's strange. Like, girls can show as much legs as they want. Like, you can wear the tiniest mini skirt and nobody bats an eye. But as soon as you show like a millimeter of cleavage, it's like taboo.
Yeah.
Very strange, huh? Like yeah, you cannot show any breasts in Korea. But thighs, you can almost show your underwear and you're fine in Korea.
Yeah, thighs you can go as short as you want, but
there's sometimes in the dead of winter when it's like -20, and you'll see girls in Gangnam come out with skirts on because they want to look pretty, right?
And then I kind of got influenced by this society thing too.
Yeah.
So I used to think that it's so revealing if you showed your breast, but not as much if it was your legs.
It shapes you.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think I heard somebody say this, that the difference is the sunlight. So in Europe, the sun's very strong.
Okay.
So all these bright colored clothes can look very, very good, and it doesn't like pop as much.
Yeah.
But then if you wear like the type of clothes that you buy from Europe and you try to wear it in Korea, the material is different, and also like the colors are like different, right? And then somehow it ends up looking a little bit out of shape when you wear in Korea, and that's because of like the sun.
Or
I don't know how much that is true.
in Korea we say 촌스러워, right?
Yeah.
촌스러워, what's a good English term?
True, I think.
It means like
Old fashioned.
Yeah, old fashioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't have as much strong sunlight as in like, I don't know, LA. Or
After living in Korea, I have a vitamin D deficiency.
Daniel, it's everybody.
Yeah, I think you're right. When I go for my medical checkup, they say I'm deficient in vitamin D. First time.
Yeah, most working men and women have that, I think.
See, gotta drink more orange juice. We should pivot a little bit. We have another email. Hey guys, thanks for sending a lot of your emails. These are very interesting. I like this kind of back and forth with our community.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. So last time we spent quite amount of time on it. I think this is towards the end, so we don't have as much time. Technically, we could talk for hours, but we have an email from Luxembourg.
Luxembourg?
Luxembourg.
From the country Luxembourg?
Yes.
Wow, we have listeners from there.
Yeah. So she wrote quite a long email, but basically I'll try to skim through it. I am a Korean adoptee raised in and given the nationality of Luxembourg, a tiny, amazing country between France, Germany, and Belgium.
I would love to visit.
Too. I'll skip through most of it and then go to her question. From reading about adoption from Korea, I know that it is quite a taboo to talk openly about it. As I read, a woman who would get pregnant before marriage would have to either abort or give the baby away for adoption. But afterwards, she wouldn't be able to talk about it to anyone in her family, or else she would be socially rejected. But is that really still the case in 2020? First question. Katie, reactions, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I have seen cases around me where this girl got pregnant. She's not married, but she was just dating this guy.
Yeah.
And then she got pregnant, but it's mostly the family. They can't accept it.
Yeah.
So the family of the guy, like forced her to have abortion.
Really?
Yeah. They would pressurize her to have abortion.
That's fucking terrible. Sorry.
So what choice does she have, right?
Yeah.
So she ended up having the abortion. And to be honest, I wasn't surprised to hear this story because I think kind of happens a lot in Korea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though abortion is illegal, there are many ways that people get it.
Yeah. It's in Korea, it is illegal to get abortions as of now, but still accessible, widely accessible.
Yes. So because it's illegal, people get it through like
it's not
underground safe. Kind of ways. So then it would have repercussions on the woman too, you know. She has difficult time having baby later on.
Yeah.
Things like that. And I have seen this case too where this person, she's much older, but she had an abortion and then she couldn't have a baby.
I see.
So she didn't adopt, but she married a guy who has kids. So she took care of that family.
In my circles, I think generally I see people, if they have an unplanned pregnancy, they usually get married. You know, the parents, it sucks, but the parents of the guy will just, tell them, hey, you have to take responsibility, and you have like shotgun marriages like that. That one is very frequent. I've know quite a few like that. And even if when I meet people, I'll say, you already have a kid, and be like, yeah. They say 사기쳤다, right?
사기가 아니라 사고.
I'm sorry.
They're two completely different words.
I'm sorry. 사고쳤다 means I had an accident. Yeah, which implies that.
Yeah, I see that a lot in my circle of friends too.
Yeah. This thing about forcing abortion, I don't see it that much. But it might also be because they don't talk about it, because that is a very painful event.
Yeah, it's not something that you're proud about, right?
Yeah. But if we shift this a little bit towards Korean adoptions, do we see like families who adopt in Korea? I don't think I've ever seen.
Personally, I don't have.
Yeah.
Regarding the question of whether it's a taboo or not about being an adoptee, I don't think it's a taboo. It's just that we don't really have common. Those cases. But then, the only cases I see are on TV. So they will do shows where they will find like Korean adoptee in like, I don't know, Finland or somewhere else. And then the way we see it is we just have a lot of empathy for those people, but never in like a taboo or in any negative way. Yeah.
And I think our reader is interested about if she returns to Korea, how people would view her since she is an adoptee. She was raised abroad. I think she would just be similarly viewed as like a kyopo. In Korean, we call kyopo someone who was raised outside of Korea but was born in Korea.
Yeah.
And we get treated kind of like third-class citizens. I mean, that's a very negative term, but for Koreans, you look Korean, but you don't speak the language that well, and you don't know the customs completely. So you have this sense of like unpredictability or unknown to you. In the past, like kyopos were kind of like looked highly upon because they could speak English, but I think that was back in the early 2000s and 1990s. But now everyone can speak English. In some ways, you're kind of not treated like a foreigner, but you're not treated like a local. So I think if you're an adoptee, you would have a very similar experience to like Korean Americans, or you have one foot in your culture and you have one foot in Korea, and you don't need to be accepted. That's my answer. You don't need to be accepted. If you are have a beautiful personality, people come to you. You're that much more interesting. Yeah. And so like you can create that energy. And in terms of, do I need to make myself known as an adoptee? That's up to you. You know, when I introduce myself to people, like even at the for example at the army, I don't want that kind of energy. I don't want that kind of curiosity towards me. So I never introduce myself as someone who lived abroad. Just, you know, you have the you look like a local, so you can just blend in when you want to. You want to stick out and you want to, gain attention, then you can bring up your story. Or in the case of, if you're adopted, if you kind of connect with someone in a way where you want to feel vulnerable, open that up about yourself. That's a part of your life that makes you that much more unique, interesting, and also more
curious by other people.
Yeah. Not in a weird way, but like you have more life experiences.
I think so.
I guess that's what I've been trying to kind of say in a very convoluted way. Like the fact that you were adopted, or the fact that I was born in a different country, that's one part of my identity that you have the option to display or hide. And most of the times I would say hide it, interact, and see if that person that you're connecting with is someone worth opening up that awesome fact about yourself, about your start.
Yeah.
That was your start. That's it. Simple as that, in my opinion.
Yes. Well summarized, Daniel. Do we have other emails?
Yes, we do. We have quite a few, but I think one per episode.
Okay. So people keep sending us more emails.
Yes, and neighbors, again, if you want to add your opinion, please write it in the comment section of our YouTube video. We also upload this podcast to YouTube, so write it there. And if you haven't, please drop a 4+1 review. That's a 5 if you can't. That's a 5. That's a 5-star review. If you enjoy it. If you don't, annyeong.